What's going on YouTube? I'm Ben, and in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about split recruiting. What's going on, everybody? I am Ben Nader. I quit my 9-to-5 job about 2.5 years ago to start my own recruiting agency. I did $100,000 in revenue in the first 6 months. And if you are interested in recruiting or staffing, business, entrepreneurship, definitely become a subscriber of this channel. Now, for the uninformed, there are multiple ways that recruiting deals can be structured. The first one of these structures is called a direct hire placement. This is basically where you, as a recruiter, work directly with a client, a company that needs a candidate, and you find them that candidate, that you place them that candidate, you have a contract exclusively with them, and then you collect a fee upon them hiring that candidate. It's only between you and that company, and that's that. Rinse and repeat. Now, the second structure I'm going to reference is called a split partnership placement. This is where you work with another individual, and this person either has the client signed or they have a boatload of candidates that are ready to fill that particular role that's needed at that company. So you're going to be working together with a split partner, meaning you split the effort, you split everything, and one person has the candidates or one person has the client. Now, a split partnership is very similar to just doing a direct hire placement individually between you and a client of your own, except for it's exactly what the name says. It is a split, meaning you do half the work, the other person does half the work. To get really specific about this, every single thing about a split partnership placement is split, meaning the effort that you put into the deal, the duties that you're responsible for, and of course, at the end of the day, once a candidate is hired in a split agreement, the fee itself is split amongst the two split partners. Now, I would just like to mention that if done ethically, most split partnerships should be done the proper way, meaning it's a 50-50 split, meaning one person gets 50% of the fee and the other person gets 50% of the fee. In a split agreement, one person is providing 50% of the value, like the client, which is a pretty good value, signing an agreement with a client, and the other person is providing 50% of the value by providing candidates. You can't have a placement without a candidate, so therefore, of course, a candidate is 50% of the value. Thus, naturally, a 50% split on the fee would be perfectly normal. If the fee was $20,000, each person getting $10,000 would be perfectly equitable and extremely fair. There are definitely several rules I would like to lay out about split partnerships that I think are really, really important, so please pay attention. My number one rule for split partnerships is basically if you see any red or even yellow flags in the beginning stages of discussions between a split partner and how the split's going to go down, what the fee is going to be, who the client is, that sort of thing. If there's information that's being omitted or if there's just too much secrecy or anything weird, simply walk away and forget about it. Just consider yourself money saved, effort saved. You don't want to just get into something just to get into something, just because maybe even you're a beginning recruiter and it sounds really, really cool and you want to jump into it. Save yourself the time and walk away. There's so much business out there. You don't need to jump into something that could just waste a ton of your time and your money eventually. My second rule on split partnerships is that you should never settle for less than 50% of the fee in a split partnership agreement. Now, my only caveat is if the money and effort makes sense for you. Now, what do I mean by that? If you are placing for someone that's gonna make a salary of $300,000 and your split partner is offering you 35% of the cut or 40% of the cut or something of that nature, and they have the contract signed with the client, you just have to find the candidate and it makes sense, it's gonna make enough money for you, you're not gonna have to put in too much effort by your estimate, and it makes sense overall, by all means, go for it. My third rule in split partnerships is that you should always, and I mean always, have a signed agreement with your split partner. Just as we have signed agreements with our clients that we work with, you need to have a signed contractual agreement with your split partner. So at the end of the day, if your partner turns out to be some super scammy person, they hold the client, they collect the fee, they decide to ghost you and forget about you and not pay you your fair share, and the only thing that you have to defend yourself will be a signed contract. Now, my fourth rule on split partners is that you should know the space that you're getting into if you're going to jump into a split partnership placement. So if someone has a client that's in banking or finance and you've just been simply placing for admins or something like that your entire career, or if you're absolutely green and brand new and you don't know that space whatsoever, or you're not willing to learn it quickly on your feet, you should probably walk away from the split. Basically, what's going to happen is it's going to cause a lot of tension. It will slow things down. The split partner that you're working with will probably want to drop you, and it's just probably not going to be a good arrangement overall. All right, so now let's talk about something I get a ton of questions about on LinkedIn or Facebook, or YouTube comments, whatever. Split partner networks. All right, so some split partner networks out there are just flat out scams. They're complete garbage. All right, so not every single one of them is garbage, and I'm obviously not going to go name names for slanderous purposes and other reasons, but some are strictly flat out scams, and you need to avoid those, and you should recognize what the warning signs are. I'll go into detail here in a little bit. One super scammy thing about split partner networks is that they make you pay a monthly fee. Now, this is essentially just a complete ripoff. There's absolutely no reason you should pay a monthly fee to be a part of a split network like it's a country club or something. At the end of the day, you're simply joining a group of professionals recruiting and sourcing for candidates that they have the clients for, and you're essentially helping them out. You do get a commission at the end of the day, but there really should be no reason for the monthly fee. So my second issue with scammy split partner networks is that they simply use you. So this is not everywhere, but some of the times they will basically use you to source and recruit for candidates that they need for their clients, but inevitably they will never actually go and hire your candidate for that particular client that they actually showed you. They might send that candidate over to a different client that they also have, but through legal loopholes, you can't actually do anything about it because you signed up to actually source for that particular role. Now, there's nothing telling them legally that they cannot take that particular candidate and go fill them in a different role without paying you a commission. That's really scammy. The other thing about split partner networks is that they give you some of the crummiest jobs you've ever heard of. So basically, they will give you like the 100% commission traveling salesman role to recruit for. Now, this is like the worst recruiting role you could ever receive to recruit on. It's going to take you months possibly to even entertain some candidate that may be interested in that role, and they'll probably end up taking something else because people like that are purple unicorns, and they can pretty much go wherever they want, and that's why they want you recruiting for them. And so if you do end up finding one, they'll make a huge commission and they'll pay you peanuts on top of that. So they are going to give you some of the worst jobs as possible. Again, not every single one, but some of them. Now, my last downside about split partner networks is that there are simply too many cooks in the kitchen. So what I mean by that is basically if you're intimidated by working on a job requisite where you're competing with maybe one other agency on a direct hire basis for one of your own clients locally, get ready to compete with about 100 other independent recruiters searching on the same exact role that you are. So the night or day that that role comes out, there are going to be 100 individuals searching and recruiting for that particular role, probably talking to the exact same people that you are, probably sourcing the same regions you are, using the same tools you are, and that's really just kind of crummy. All right, so I really want to try to get away from all the negativity about split partner networks because there are a lot of benefits, in fact. So if it's the right person, if it's the right deal, if it's the right time, and it's the right role, you definitely should engage in split partner placing and split partner networks, especially if you're a brand new recruiter, like 100% green, because there's so many benefits to this for you. If you're an absolutely brand new recruiter, Split partnering will actually give you the chance to get halfway into the pool rather than diving full on into the deep end and actually collecting a decent sized fee at the same time while learning a whole ton about recruiting at the same time. So it's actually a really, really good thing if it's, again, the right network or the right split partner and the right position to fill for you. And only you can know that because you know your skills and your background and what you're good at. But for a brand new recruiter, it's definitely something that can be very beneficial. Not to mention, if you're just a seasoned recruiter or a mid-level recruiter or brand new, it can diversify your workload. So say you have a couple of clients, 2 or 3 clients right now that you're working on job orders for locally in your area that you have direct hire, exclusive placement agreements with. Maybe you want to tack on 1 or 2 split partner agreements to source and recruit for those roles as well, just to change things up and add a couple of other revenue streams. Now, if I'm going to recommend any split partner network at all in this video, it's going to be Top Echelon. And I will link this in the description of the video, as well as to my group, Six Figure Recruiters. If you're not in there, you definitely need to be. There's so many reasons Top Echelon would be at the top, but I will give you a few. Number 1 would be that they simply have the best reputation among all recruiters that I've spoken with. So many recruiters have told me that they've had great experiences with Top Echelon. They've actually come out on top. They've paid well. They're a recognizable organization and they have a really good reputation overall. So for that fact alone, I would definitely recommend them in this video. The second reason I would recommend Top Echelon for you to use as a split partner network is that they are not only a split partner network, they're actually a back office. So you can use them if you end up getting contract business. Now, of course, contract business is where you pay the actual contractor, you're the employer, but you have a client that then you bill and yada yada. There's a whole other thing to it. And if you're a seasoned recruiter, you understand what I'm talking about, but they have a really good back office, and I've heard this from tons of recruiters that particularly use them for their back office alone, and for them, it's actually just worth it for the back office alone because it's that good. The number 3 reason I would recommend Top Echelon is that apparently, from everything I've heard, all accounts, they have a pretty damn good split network going on, meaning they pay out good fees, they pay reasonably, they pay on time, and they actually have pretty good rules for you to recruit on. So for you brand new recruiters, I would definitely say it's something that you should jump on. If you're going to get into a split partner network, Top Echelon would be the one to do, and I'd go for it. Now guys, if you want some seriously detailed information about split partner networks and pretty much 1,000 other things about staffing, you can go to usastaffingservices.com, and I will link that down in the bottom of the video description. So guys, if this video was valuable to you, I would definitely appreciate it if you would smash that like button down below and subscribe as well and hit the alert button so that you know every single time I come out with a new video, which is pretty much every single day. Until then.